Hey friends out in the world. So thank you for stopping by Vine and Thorn Witch. And today I'm going to take you down to the river. um, this is Blanchard Dam, which is in central Minnesota, kind of close to Royalton. Um, every single year I love coming here because when the dam opens up, all of these stones and sediments are released and they come out, and lots of people come by looking for various stones like agates, citron, let's see, a lot of quartz, dolomite, and something that's very rare in this area are fairy stones. But today I'm bringing you to the river because I wanted to talk about the quarters. So the common idea is northeast, southwest. And I thought today that I would share how I see those things, which is a little bit different. I was raised to understand all of these things through stories. And the stories are meant to bring understanding and connection to how you form a relationship with the elements. When we're working with the elements, to have connection to why a thing is has always been very important in my practice, and it's something that I was raised with. And because I was taught along the side of a river drawing in sand, I figured that I would share with the world the same way that it was brought to me into my life. So as always, before I get into this, let me just say that this is just one practice of witchcraft. There are many, many, many different ways to practice witchcraft, and the correct one is the one that is correct for you. Okay, so here is the earth and where we are going to create some art. I have a stick here, and let's just go ahead and draw out a circle. So we all know that a circle is a symbol of balance. It has equal sides, it goes on forever, and so it speaks to us about lessons on how we can maintain balance. To understand both sides, our duality, who we are, what we want, things that we're scared of. And then the cross in the center brings out that complete balance, connecting with the quarters, connecting with the seasons, connecting with day, night, and the spaces in between. And that is really what the cross in the center for me personally means. This symbol is worldwide. You can find it in, I think, almost every single corner of the earth, the cross of balance, and sometimes not, in a circle. Okay, so I'm gonna put an in up here. This is true north to where I'm sitting, and the east, and then down here we're gonna go with the west. And then, oh, I gotta move my camera over just a little bit. Adjust that. Okay, stay. Okay, and then we have the south. Let me get that in there a little bit better. Hopefully it's in frame. If not, I'll do the best I can. So in the north, generally I think it comes from European tradition, is the idea that it is of earth. I need to get a better stick. Hold on. Okay, so in the north, I think the rule of thumb that I've read in most books is that this is the direction of north and earth. In my own personal tradition, I don't follow that. It doesn't make any sense to me. And in certain reading, I wonder about whether or not it is because in North America, the north to me is not earthy, it's more of air. This is something that's been taught to me, is something that I continue on with my practice. The east is of water, and the reason for that is because of how the sun rises in the east and lowers in the west. So if we look at this, the different quarters, and we look at the relationship that they have with North America. So in the north, we have kind of the idea of big sky country. The trees are not as tall, there's not as many mountains here, there's more high hills, and the sky can go on forever. And so there's more of a connection to sky, to air, to thought um, in the north, which brings balance to the action of movement. From thoughts, we go into action and creativity, which is more of a southern thought. So in the south, in North America, we're going closer to the equator. We have a lot of heat, a lot of movement, a lot of passion, a lot of energy. It really does stir like from the low belly and come up into your body with these feelings of motivation, of kind of intoxicating central energies that come down from the south. And this is from my experience. I have lived in all four corners, and so I bring that personal connection into my relationship with the four corners, with the energies of these elemental energies that we can connect into our own body and into our witchcraft, into the way that we kind of perceive and understand the world around us, and how the world around us relates to us in our lives and the goals that we're setting forth. So when we go then over the Rockies and we see that vast ocean of Pacific seas, the Pacific Ocean, you start to understand how earthy it is. A lot of times I think it's perceived as this like tropical oasis, but really there's a lot of desert. Those mountains, those Rocky Mountains, have a good balance of tall redwood trees, and it flows down into this desert kind of oasis feeling. So it's very earthy. You get very drawn into this connection of these ancient trees and how the moss grows and just that earth feeling that comes from it. All the way down into the deserts that lead into the oceans and lead down into Mexico and into like San Diego, where you start getting more tropical, but there's still this earthiness to it. So I look at this and I bring this connection. The north, where I live now, which has that big sky, big thoughts. The east, that is more of water. You know, all things begin of water. Whether you're a seed, whether you're in an egg or in a womb, you're surrounded by water. Water is that spark of beginning, that spark of life. And so because the sun rises and begins the day, there's that connection of the eastern sea, the eastern sunrise, and the beginning of a new day, the beginning of new things. And so water for me is in the east, where the Atlantic Ocean has this ancient feeling, like memories are collected there before a new thing begins. The collection of wisdom and knowledge and understanding of who you are before you step out into a new beginning. All of those feelings is what I connect with when I'm on the East Coast. And then I see that progression of thought and action throughout the day, connecting us to north and to south, leading us to the west, the completion of earth and connection and grounding. So all of these things tie into the story on how I personally have a relationship with the elements and how it is that I call them in when I am doing any kind of circle work, when I am doing any kind of focused spellcrafting, where I'm asking for the assistance of one of the four. And then it also helps me understand my own personal energy and how these identifiers connect with my life story, with my goals, with the way that my body moves and reacts throughout the day, through certain topics, through certain interactions and reactions. And so it kind of ties all together. So I was just wanted to kind of sit down and share with you maybe a different way of seeing it. If you're in North America, maybe kind of looking at how we can connect to it, bringing it kind of local and bringing it to your own personal connection. Perhaps get into how it resonates with you in your own life and how you perceive the elements. Where do you live? Where have you lived? What are the differences that you personally have experienced when connecting with the four corners and how they relate to the element, and then how all of that might relate to your own personal life. really bringing this into your own practice in a way that makes sense to you, in a way that tells a story for you to have a better understanding, a better why you're connecting with those elements for you personally. And then when we really look at it, the more involved that we get into working with elements, working with the corners, working with the way that these things speak to us, the why, the reason, the logic behind it, the history behind it, we begin to recognize that the elements are actually in every single corner. They are in the north, they're in the east, the south, the west. They are all represented in each corner, in each space, in each place. And when we begin to see that, we can then break free from thinking that it has to be rigid. It has these rules that might not resonate with you. And so it allows you then to explore what does resonate. It allows you to truly make the craft yours, to connect with it in a way that makes sense for the region you live in, part of the world you live in. And it makes it just more personal, more beautiful, more simplistic in your own personal witchcraft. And that's one of the unique things about being a witch is it's about where we are. It's about where we've come from. It's about how it resonates with us. How do we connect? And it then leads into everything else that is about our life. So, yeah, so I just kind of wanted to go into a little bit of a talk about this and just kind of put the thought out there. I haven't really heard a lot of other people talk about this. And so it's something that when I'm having conversations with like-minded people, when I'm among other witches or metaphysical events or anything of the like, and we start talking about this subject, I get kind of tongue-tied and I don't know how to explain that I don't follow like the most common understood system for this. And so I just kind of wanted to open the door to maybe have the conversation that there's more to it than just the foundation that a lot of us are raised with, or a lot of us learn when we begin our spiritual path, whether it's witchcraft or whatever. That yes, we have this beautiful foundation that has been shaped over many, many years, which give us like a starting point to learn these different concepts, to learn the different understandings of the elements, the quarters, the connection to plants and the sun, the moon, and all these beautiful things. And that as we progress in our witchcraft, how we begin to understand it in a more personal, deeper way, and it begins to resonate differently. All of that foundation is still there. It just evolves with us as we evolve into our own witchcraft. And that's kind of the conversation that I wanted to kind of maybe begin, open up, share, just kind of, spend a few moments at the river and talk about this. It is such a beautiful day, and I just thought I would take a few moments. So this is the Mississippi River up here in central Minnesota, and I always love thinking about the fact that I live up here, and I have also lived in Louisiana, and one of my favorite places is in New Orleans, and climbing up to the Mississippi after having like some beignets or something, and just enjoying the energy of the southern. I love New Orleans. It's one of my favorite cities. Before I kind of go off on other topics, I figured I'd probably end it here and invite you to the curiosity of the elements, of your witchcraft, of you, and everything that falls into all of those topics. Hopefully you're having a beautiful day or night, and as always, happy witching.